Alright, it's probably time for the quartering. So recently, Blue's Clues had an episode with the Pride Parade. It was actually really nicely done. I enjoyed it. We watched the clip at some point. It was tastefully done. It was very inclusive to all sorts of different, I would use the term intersectional. So, good stuff. And right-wingers are pissed off about it, so let's see what the quartering has to say, shall we?
Come join the fun! Families marching 5 by 5, hurrah, hurrah.
What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby. You think I am shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people? I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap. I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
Some people choose their family. They love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade.
Yikerinos.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and I want to first and foremost start by wishing everybody a happy Memorial Day, and by showing the utmost respect to those who have served and paid the ultimate price for this country, their friends, their families, those that supported them. Please know that their sacrifice is honored, and always this country will be indebted to them. And I hope that you enjoy your long weekend. I'm honoring those who served by working, because I know there's a lot of people out there that...
I thought that I would honor the work to preserve freedom by shitting on people for being exactly who they are. Haha! Fun. Jesus Christ. What's this? They're made out of meat? Oh god. It's 7 minutes long. Watch that later. Profane Priestess says, "This legit meant a lot to me. Blue's Clues was a huge part of my childhood. Also, the song unironically slapped." I know, it was nice. I loved Blue's Clues growing up, too. You were expecting a remix to start up, and Bardlock Moses says, "As a VFW, go fuck yourself, Jeremy."
That still have day jobs that they have to work today. Maybe truckers are out there still on the road, delivery drivers, a lot of people out there still grinding, and so I shall grind along with thee. Now, there's a lot of outrage over a new Blue's Clues episode that featured, or a short or a video or something, about the Pride Parade. As you don't know, hilariously, we get Memorial Day but Pride Month. I guess which one sells more garbage.
Pride Month is not a federal holiday, Jeremy. You know that, right? Just checking.
Probably matters there, but we're about to enter Pride Month, or otherwise known as Cringe Month, where...
Towing24 says, "Happy Memorial Day unless you're an LGBT veteran. Otherwise, go fuck yourself. People who have existed since at least the Civil War." Daddy Sume with a link I'm not going to click because your link privileges have been taken away. We discussed this.
Billion-dollar, super huge mega corporations attempt to pander to the LGBTQ community as well as their many allies.
This is so ironic considering Jeremy's entire shtick. Hey, kitty, what are you doing? Jeremy's entire shtick is him complaining that, Disney doesn't pander to 40-year-old men more in Star Wars and Marvel, and now he's complaining about companies pandering to gay people. Fun. Every month is Cringe Month for Jeremy. May is Veterans Month, FYI. Good to know. Bardlock Moses says, "I guess he's not going to watch Nick Jr. anymore." I know, what a shame. Von Tuck says, "Lazily appropriating the Invincible meme clip to help the algorithm spread his bigotry. What an auteur Jeremy is." And H. Baird says, "Wait until he finds out that Pride Month commemorates a series of riots against police brutality."
To sell products. We've seen this with Skittles. We've seen this with cereal. All this stuff. Pander. They don't really care. If you think that Nike cares...
No shit. They're a for-profit corporation, Jeremy. No one thinks they give a shit. There's no one to give a shit. It's a company. It's a legal fiction. We understand how marketing works, you idiot.
I've got a bridge to sell you. It's like that famous meme where they're like, hey, F capitalism. And then the same person's on the other side with like a rainbow flag. And they're like, oh, you know, that's what this whole month is. Now,
Nick says, yes, Skittles, the candy that's one flavor in each bag, the other 11 months of the year.
I think there's always a fine line. You know, I think society as a whole, I believe, at least in the West, I should say, is largely accepting of the LGBTQ community. There are pockets of people that are intolerant.
Yes, your opening intro that made fun of the entire concept of a pride parade. Yeah, that's great. You're very accepting, Jeremy. Jeremy trying to pretend to be an ally frustrates the shit out of me at this point, too. Mike Mack says, how dare private businesses promote the non-white, rich, straight Christian male? Princess Amelia says, the idea is not that they care about LGBT people. The idea is that get woke, go broke is nonsense. That's what Jeremy and people like him don't get. Yeah. That's the funny thing, too. By him admitting that companies are doing Pride Month stuff and rainbow capitalism to make money cynically, he is admitting implicitly that get woke, go broke is bullshit. Right? They can't both be the same. If getting woke meant you went broke, companies wouldn't cynically exploit Pride Month to try and drain money from us. Like...
And that sucked. But the reality is, I don't think, I think this, you know, the West has come a long way in terms of tolerance and things like that. That said, one area of major contention is when you're talking about...
Is he gonna do, think of the children? Felix Night Owl says, pander, Jeremy, it's called profit. As a gay veteran, I'd love to take a long walk to the end of the rainbow. Also, fuck you.
Putting this kind of programming
in front of children. If children know LGBT people exist, then they'll just know more about the world. We can't have that. Pyromancer says, but Hannah, woke is like a stock and it's doing well in the short term, but it's a long-term loss. I'd love to see him try and justify that.
In children's television shows, in particular Blue's Clues, caused a lot of outrage because, well, you know, they put a warning in front of Disney rides. They put a warning in front of...
warning! This includes the gay.
All their Disney movies. But, you know, there was no warning in front of this episode in case parents wanted to be there with their children.
Let me explain how these cartoon frogs are attracted to other cartoon frogs of the same gender, or they're non-gender conforming frogs. Clearly that'll help. Like, goddamn. It's just explaining what a pride event is to kids, vaguely. Ginger Snipsnap says, quick Memorial Day fun fact, my grandpa served overseas during World War II, and the white American soldiers would tell everyone that black people had tails. The children where my grandpa was stationed would often peep at him and other black soldiers to see if they had tails. That's disgusting. I hate everyone and everything.
And observe exactly what was going on. Now, it was an episode or a video featuring a famous drag queen. Obviously, I don't know who that is, but apparently it's a famous drag queen carrying what appears to be a BLM scepter and a wide variety of LGBTQ animals. And they sing a song about pride and all this kind of stuff. Look, I don't have a strong opinion one way or another. I wouldn't be letting my kids watch anything that modern television had to offer these days because...
My kids will watch old racist Looney Tunes cartoons on a loop all day and they will like it, okay? Der Fuhrer's face? Yes, please. oh god, what is it? Coal Black and the Seven Dwarves? That's my shit! Jesus Christ. Towing24 said, would Mr. Basement P misgender this veteran? And then I'm guessing it's like a trans veteran. Interesting. Is this from the Civil War? Union Army. Wow, cool. Does he have kids? I don't know. Nor do I care. I don't keep track of that kind of shit. If Jeremy has kids, they don't deserve to be put on blast because their dad's an asshole. Von Tuck says, wait, isn't this the chuckle fuck that gets validation, getting his fans to bully corporations into giving them things you don't get to complain about rainbow capitalism, Jeremy? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His whole job is being like, they didn't cater enough to my specific demographic. So funny. Nick says, the wrong generation, right? Like, I don't watch new children's TV, really. The last time I watched probably a children's TV series was, like, when Adventure Time had just started, and I watched a little bit of Steven Universe when that first started, but I never finished either of those shows. But those shows were great. Like, some of the best children's shows ever have come out in the past, like, 20 years. Like, there's nothing wrong with modern children's TV shows, Jeremy. You're just a just a weirdo. Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, I just bought a goodbye card for my coworker last day tomorrow. They weren't going to spring for it because she's just a contractor. Frack the gig economy, capitalism. That's shitty.
Because I don't trust any of it.
I've heard Infinity Train is good, which is a show that's currently on HBO Max. I've heard that there are some really good kid shows out.
There's anything wrong with preaching tolerance whatsoever, but there is a questionable, there is an ongoing debate right now in terms of how much should we be showing kids? How much should be...
It's literally anthropomorphic animals holding flags on floats. Like, seriously, how much less could they show, Jeremy? How much less could they show and still have it be about LGBT people existing at all? It's the bare minimum. And it's great. I thought it was a great segment. But what do you want them to do, Jeremy? He just wants it to not exist. He just doesn't want anything that kids might see to acknowledge the existence of LGBT people.
We be worried about, programming children. And I think that that's a reasonable conversation to have.
I saw a frog in a cartoon hold a trans pride flag, and now I'm trans, because that's how this works.
I think parents, bear.
Since that's how it works, actually, Jeremy, just make a competing YouTube video where it's a cartoon frog holding a super straight flag, and it'll turn your kid straight again. Right? That's how it works.
Responsibility and what they let their children watch. And to be honest, I'd probably be more likely to let my kids watch anime than anything produced in the West right now.
I'll let my children watch a genre that regularly sexualizes minors, but you don't get to watch Blue's Clues because they acknowledge the existence of gay people. What the fuck, Jeremy? Oh, I support LGBT people. I just don't like the fact that they exist. What is this two-faced horse shit? Fontuck says, Star versus the Forces of Evil is pretty good when you're on shrooms. Something about the color saturation is heaven. Nice. Vast Lunacy says, every time someone complains about children's exposure to LGBT plus content, to me it reveals that they're still sexualizing queerness. Oh, for sure. And Nick says, 2 words for you, Jeremy. Junji Ito. That's manga, okay? The anime isn't that good. Morok says, there is an anime called Lesbian Bear Storm, which is possibly the gayest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, there's a lesbian couple in Sailor Moon. They're gay characters in anime.
Because you just never know. Blue's Clues put out this episode which of course is by far their most popular video in a very long time. And
Wait, I thought you said get woke, go broke, Jeremy. Doesn't that imply that you get woke and then you get a bunch of views and make money? Huh, weird. Daddy Sume says Sailor Moon has no gays, only cousins who are definitely incestuous. Yeah, they added it in America to make them cousins or something.
And you can see that it is quite divisive, receiving 31,000 upvotes.
Honestly, that's way better than I thought it was going to be.
But 15,000 downvotes. And throughout the video, you have this Nina West character, who is a famous drag queen. Okay, good for her. But then you have weird stuff like, you know, the BLM fist and, you know, all sorts of...
Look at this. Look at this gay dolphin in a wheelchair. Is this too much for kids to show a gay dolphin in a wheelchair? Like this... Think about, in a vacuum, how stupid Jeremy sounds here. Look at this dolphin in a wheelchair with a rainbow scarf. Is this going to scar my children? Ugh. Felix Night Owl says, it's ironic that his whole grift is about being aggrieved for Disney and Marvel marginalizing and disenfranchising his middle-aged straight white boy demographic, but he seems to not care that that's what he's doing. Yeah, he's a hypocrite. Von Tuck says, we're recommending gay anime, flip-flappers like FLCL, but for lesbians. I didn't understand most of those words.
Things that a lot of children probably either don't know about, don't need to know about, or aren't ready for.
What? I'm sorry. I can't let my kid watch The Little Mermaid because she kisses. She actually gets married to the guy at the end, and I don't think my kids are old enough to know about heterosexuality, okay? Let's not go too far. Mike Mack says, first it was D&D, rock music, video games, and comics, now gay cartoons. Also, I like that there are more trans characters in anime here. And then I think it's a picture of like a trans anime character or something. Okay, I don't know what anime that's from.
And I think that I understand why parents might be upset about this.
I think I might understand why parents might be upset about this while showing what they are upset about, and it's a cat in a cowboy hat with a rainbow scarf. Sky Comet Fallen says Jeremy needs to buy some yaoi for his kids since anime is so child-friendly. I am so enraged and worried that my kids will be scarred by this cat with a rainbow bandana. How will they take it?
But, you know, the mainstream media, of course, loved it.
Yeah, I would imagine most people did, because most people are, like, not pieces of shit.
You see, of course, the Mary Sue. Blue's Clues.
Like, of course, the Mary Sue. What the fuck? And also, even within the video you showed, most of it had twice the upvotes that it did downvotes. So why wouldn't the media be on board with it? Most people are on board with it. People who are the customers of the media. Jeremy, come to terms with the fact that the way you view the world is the minority opinion. You are a regressive, and most people don't agree with your worldview. So when you look out and you look at the media and other people's reactions to things and you don't understand why it's different than yours, it's not because they're infiltrated SJWs. It's because you are behind the times. You have been passed by society. That's on you. Crystal Cat, thanks for subscribing for 12 months, says, I thought the Blue's Clues clip was really cute, showing way more inclusivity than I would have expected. Yeah, it was great. Bardlock Moses says, most people aren't trash. Surprisingly.
Hosts a Pride Parade sing-along with Drag Race's Nina West. Wow. If you're looking for a fun, kid-friendly way to celebrate Pride, then Nickelodeon's and Blue's Clues have just the ticket. Now, we've seen Nickelodeon venture far more into the politics side, releasing cringe, like, Nickelodeon news where they talk about white privilege and things like that. I don't think that we should be imposing these ideas on young children right now.
This would be like if he was alive when, like, Mr. Rogers did a pretty famous, Mr. Rogers pool. So Mr. Rogers, there was this thing where back in the day, this was, oh gosh, was this during the 60s or the 70s? This was when segregation was still a thing in the United States. And this was an issue at pools. It was an issue in many places, but specifically one of the issues was at, like, public pools. People of color were being attacked by racist white people. I know there was one instance, at least, where the owner of the pool, it was a public pool, but the owner came out and, like, dumped a bunch of bottles of bleach into the pool to get the black people out of the pool. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so Mr. Rogers, in a show of defiance against this, because he was a pretty progressive guy, so he did a little segment where he had the policeman on the show, whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, had him come and stick his feet in a little kiddie pool with him. And this is the same kind of thing. This is the same kind of, like, political messaging that you see in Blue's Clues with the Pride Parade thing. It's subtle messaging to children that, hey, this thing is normal and it's fine. If Jeremy was alive during this, or if Jeremy was, like, doing what he did now, but back then, if it was somehow possible, he would say the same shit. Jeremy would be the regressive piece of shit who pretends he's a centrist, going like, oh, sure, I support desegregation, but I just don't think our kids should be forced with this political messaging down their throats. This is what Jeremy is arguing against, and he's pretending he's reasonable for doing so, instead of just being a bigoted piece of shit. Fuck you, Jeremy. Fuck you. I hope kids' shows get even gayer. Anyway. Mike Mack says, if Jeremy sees One Piece, he will lose his mind when he sees a character that has the power to manipulate hormones and can change themselves and anyone genders easily. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing in that. Not bleach, hydrochloric acid? My bad. Morok Ben Eoth says, speaking of queer anime, my second favorite show of all time is Serial Experiments Lane, a weird psychedelic nightmare trip about a 14-year-old lesbian god. Nice. One Speedy Yoshi says, I bought more bits just to tell you that Nick News has been around since the 90s and has always talked about race and shit. Yeah, I remember Nick News. Nick News with Linda Ellerby. Yeah, I remember. And Wing the Ultimate Nug says, Blue's Clues actually had the majority of the flags. It was really cute. The drag singer is an actual drag artist. Yeah, I saw that mentioned, that they were on Drag Race at one point.
First of all, they don't understand it. They can't understand it. And second of all, you know...
Kids are not... Look, kids aren't smart, but also the concept of being LGBT isn't as complicated as people like Jeremy make it out to be. Like, oh, the kids just won't understand it. It's not a complicated concept. All you say is to the kid is, let's say it's about a gay person or someone who's lesbian or bisexual. You just say, well, you know how, let's say you're married, right? It's good to relate things to kids to things that they know in their own world. So let's say you're married. Oh, well, you know how mommy loves daddy, right? And we're married? And they'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, well, boys and girls can love each other and get married, and sometimes boys and boys can love each other and get married, or girls and girls. You know, it's not hard to explain to a kid. And if they're not around a bunch of bigots all the time, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, and move on, because they're children. And if you teach them about the world around them, they will understand it. Same thing with the gender stuff. If they're like, oh, what's that mean, or whatever. Well, some people are more comfortable, you know, being this way, and some people are more comfortable expressing themselves this way. It's not hard. It really isn't. It's not a hard concept for kids to get. Mike Beck says, if Sesame Street can teach kids about death and how to deal with it, they can teach someone about same-sex relationships, right? It's not complicated, it's not traumatizing, and it's not confusing. Jeremy, you know what Jeremy and people like this are afraid of? They're afraid their kids are going to be brought up seeing this stuff as normal, and they're afraid their kids aren't going to be bigots. That's the fear. They're afraid their kids will be tolerant of queer people, and that's horrifying to them. Because they already don't like how relatively tolerant society is. They don't want it to get more tolerant. Von Tuck says, Serial Experiments, Lane also did a great job. Great early depiction of how people will often have unhealthy relationships with the internet. Okay. One Speedy Yoshi says, my younger cousins know I'm gay and they understand it's fine. They even ask me when I'm getting a boyfriend, right? Like, I knew my cousin when I was younger identified as a lesbian, right? She was dating women at the time, and I understood it. Like, it wasn't complicated. Oh, she is a lady, she likes ladies. Understand, it is not a complicated concept. It's not hard, it's not confusing, it's fine.
I don't think that a cartoon is the best way to have that conversation, but that's just me, you know?
It's like the people who, like, when... And he says here, I don't think it's the best way to have the conversation. What is the best way to have the conversation, Jeremy? It's like when Colin Kaepernick would, like, take a knee during the national anthem or whatever, and conservatives would be like, oh, I just don't agree with how he's going about it. He's doing a peaceful protest. What is the appropriate way to address these grievances, then? The answer is they don't have that, because it's not that they care about the manner in which you're doing it. They're just mad that you're bringing something up. It's incredibly blatant. Mike Mack says, these people don't care about the fact. They care about control because they know they can't control everything and they're scared of the unknown. Yep.
Some parents think it's fine. 31,000 parents like that video. Blue's Clues, the long-running kids show, staged an animated Pride Parade sing-along hosted by Nina West using the tune The Ants Go Marching. Sings Afloat by showcase a parade of animals representing the LGBTQIA+ community spectrum. There are non-binary dolphins, trans beavers, bi sheep, and a host of animals with various disabilities. Now, I do think that a message of inclusion, like, look, when kids are in elementary school, and they see a kid in a wheelchair or a kid who has a physical deformity, maybe they're missing a hand or something like that, I think that these are things that I wish kids would react better to. You're young.
So you recognize that exposing children to people that they might not normally be exposed to in their everyday life, whether they be someone who's LGBT or if they're someone who's in, like, a wheelchair or something, their reaction could be normalized, and the way that they see them can be normalized by exposing them to these kinds of people through media, and that's a good idea? Wild. Von Tuck says, have a friend who's often pleasantly surprised with just how accepting and caring of others her young daughter is. Kids just seem to be moving forward so fast, it's great. Yeah.
You see somebody different, and so what's natural is they get ostracized and discriminated against by the other kids, which sucks. I'm not sure toddlers are really worried about running into a lot of non-binary folks in elementary school.
Okay, I don't care what kids are worried about. Kids are idiots. What? A kid doesn't know what they don't know. This one Speedy Yoshi says he's just mad that it's all animals and not teenagers like She-Ra, so he complain about boob size. This would be like saying, oh, my kid isn't concerned about American history, so why teach it? Like, okay, well, your kid doesn't get to determine all the time the things that are important for them to learn about the real world.
Or drag queens, if their parents are, not taking them to story time.
Garo the Khajiit, thanks for subscribing for 4 months, says, it occurred to me a few days ago that the 3 main characters in my comic would piss off chuds like Jeremy, and that knowledge makes me happy. Beautiful.
But overall, I think the
message, drag queens scare the shit out of them. It's so funny.
Is fine. Love is love, you see, and everyone should love proudly. This is a fine message. But
And yet you still made an almost 12-minute video about being mad about it. Funny how that works. It's almost like doublespeak. Felix Night Owl says, he's getting really close to understanding the point of the Pride Parade episode. I think hit the nail on the head about him worrying that his kids won't be a bigot. He just feels so left out. Yep.
I do understand with a lot of parents, wondering what exactly happened to my cartoons. What exactly
Back in my day, cartoons weren't gay at all. Hold on, let me show you some of the cartoons from back in my day that were very straight. Ah, yes. He-Man, the straightest character that's ever lived. One Speedy Yoshi says, I'm making a comic and a major part of it is about a group of 12 to 13-year-olds fighting robots. One of them is non-binary, another is intersex. People are going to be pissed. I'm excited. Well, I hope your comic goes well. Yo&80 says, also, what about those kids that want to play with some toy considered feminine masculine but think it's not okay for some reason? Good point. H-Baird says, just imagine what this video would have been if Brie Larson had been in the Blues Clues episode. And Von Tuck says, a syllabus determined by kids would be pretty rad, though, you gotta admit. Be pretty useless, would probably be my guess.
happened to Blues Clues? You could see the New York Post saying, Blues Clues teams up with drag queen Nina West for Pride Month. A new sing-along for the preschool crowd posted to Nickelodeon's YouTube channel this week shows a beloved cartoon pup in a sing-along about families, including a cartoon version of drag queen crooning about all the different kinds of families, including those with trans, non-binary, and so on parents. The family has two mommies. They love each other so proudly, and they go marching in the big parade, West sings, as the family depicted as different animals, including alligators, cats, and bears, pass her by. All families are made differently. They love each other so proudly, she also sings in the video, which racked up 17,000 likes as of Saturday. Again, I think a lot of this can be, if this kind of stuff offends you, I understand.
Why? Why would you understand that, Jeremy? If someone's offended that gay people exist, they're a piece of shit. I don't understand that. I'm sorry. Felix Night Owl says, imagine how much bullying this Pride Parade episode could prevent in the future. That in turn has a domino effect with teenage suicides and depression later in life. It's pretty rad. I agree. Blackwing Hecate says, thanks, Hannah. Now I have to go watch that video of what's going on. One Speedy Yoshi says, what does he say drag? I don't know, probably a regional accent. MH Darkbeast says, that guy that created He-Man and She-Ra was gay, and his daughter said it was massively gay at Filmation back in the day. That's the least shocking information I've received all day. 74 Quinn 74 says, hey, remember how Blues Clues has always been a girl, and the pink one was always a boy? I did know that. That confused me as a kid. Morok Ben Eoth says, my Werewolf Pathfinder character is very gay. It's an adventuring school-style game, and I've had lines about having to sneak girls out of my room when the other party members come around. It's great. And yes, she totally fucks in anthro form. Jesus Christ. Cherry Coke Icy says, what's crazy is Nina West's drag is largely appropriate for children, even outside of the context of this show. She's an icon. Mike Mack says, didn't many Looney Tunes characters do drag as a joke? Yeah, Bugs Bunny is a pretty big example of that. Yeah, I don't get why right-wingers automatically assume drag queens are like the most sexual thing and kids can't know about the concept of a drag queen. It's very weird to me. Blackwing Hecate says, Hannah, how do you feel about the kink at Pride thing? We're not having that discussion. That discourse is banned from this channel because I'm not starting that discussion.
And you should really just not be watching any mainstream television these days. You just don't know what's going on. I get
now the TV's telling my family and my children that gay people exist and that's okay. What's next? They're gonna point out that Irish people exist and that's okay? Or that Asian people exist and that's okay? Not on my watch. Like, what is this attitude? Like, what is this weird delusional attitude about life?
Yes, the overwhelming reaction appears to be positive, with many taking to social media to praise Blue's Clues for being progressive and taking proactive steps to teach kids about different family structures in a fun, catchy way that appeals to young children. Some people might call that propaganda.
Everything I don't like is propaganda, a man-child's guide to life.
I think ultimately, parents probably need to be more involved in what their kids are watching and having more conversations with their kids. I think the days are long gone of just plopping your kid down in front of television or Nickelodeon even.
You shouldn't have been doing that in the first place, you lazy fuckers. Be a parent.
And being able to trust what was on there as something that you would inherently approve of. Those days are long gone, as Nickelodeon has gotten far more political.
Political? People existing is political, because I don't like those people, and that makes it political. Von Tuck says, I refuse to hear what conservatives have to say about what's okay for children to be exposed to when they're the ones that keep the child pageant industry afloat. Yep.
See shows like Teen Titans and all this stuff, putting in BLM messaging into kids' stuff. Kids aren't ready for that, in my opinion.
Kids aren't allowed to know that gay people exist and that black people don't deserve to be killed. What age is appropriate, Jeremy? Just throw out a number for me.
And that's a conversation that parents should have with their children, not a cartoon dog. And the only way you can really deal with that.
Morok Ben Eoth says, I remember when my parents banned me from watching Arthur because apparently there was an episode showing a lesbian couple, and this was back in the late 2000s. Oh, they're probably real pissed now. The teacher turned out to be gay too.
But this is by simply not watching it, by getting more involved in what your kids watch and making sure they don't watch stuff from channels that, who is this for?
Kids who would like to know, or kids who will need to, because we live in the real world where gay people exist, for kids to know that gay, lesbian, bi, trans, ace, pan, whatever, all of the queer people exist. And also, if you're a kid and you have two moms or two dads, or trans people in your family, or non-binary people in your family, or you yourself feel that you might be one of the above, because again, kids aren't idiots, they recognize that there's something different about them, then it makes you feel like you're not alone and that your family is valid, and those are good things.
This episode was written for 30-year-old members of the LGBTQ community to like and retweet it. It wasn't written for the children, I hope.
Jeremy is such a piece of shit. I cannot believe that he has the balls to come out here and after videos like this be like, I support the trans community. Trans people love me. Bitch, no we don't. Fuck you. Mike Mack says, not gonna lie, Mr. Ratburn did give some gay vibes for a long time. And Vast Lunacy says, but the point is that some parents don't actually have those conversations. Parents that aren't usually touched by discrimination don't really bring it up. Like white parents who just cut their ethnic kids' hair because it's too hard to deal with. Yeah, I'm honestly really, really thankful and grateful for a lot of the moral messaging in TV and movies growing up. Because my parents, my dad in particular, not a good guy. And I credit the fact that I'm not entirely a piece of shit to some of the moral messaging I got growing up. So thanks, media, for making sure I'm not a complete asshole.
I'm not exactly sure what's going on. There's nothing inherently wrong with the message, but the questions are, for me, are around like, is this, are preschoolers ready for all of this? They don't.
Yes, because they don't. It's not like they're like, and kids, this is why you need lube before you do the anal sex. That's not what it is. It's, hey, do you wonder what these rainbowy parades are every year? Let's talk about it. It's to celebrate people who love each other. That's it. It's a basic introduction to the fact that gay people exist. It's fine. Old Enough to Know Better Now says, the fact Jeremy never clears off his download notifications at the bottom of his browser frustrates me as much as his shit he takes. And Von Tuck says, how dare children know about things? I remember not knowing what gay people, trans people, or non-binary people even were when I was a kid. Kids should have to go through decades of ignorance about their fellow people like me. No improvement. Society must stay the same forever. And H. Baird says, agree on your media comments. Most of my moral compass comes from Picard's speeches from Star Trek. Krista Willow with a link. This is on topic. The Quartering says, once I pay for the rights, I'll print it on a t-shirt and donate the money to my 2 black dads. Yikes, Jeremy. The fact that he... the speaking out of both sides of his mouth. When he's like, I support the LGBT community, and also, ha 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 ha, let's make fun of the LGBT community. Fuck him. Morok says, okay, last of my bits. My dad is fucking Lakota, and he's a bigoted piece of shit. It's like, how are you so blind? Yeah, that's frustrating.
Don't even understand about their own bodies and things like that. And we gotta, you know, have this stuff going on in Blue's Clues. I wouldn't let my kids watch anything produced in the modern West, but...
He speaks like such a weird, like, hey, kitty, no. One sec. Didn't close the door enough. If Cassia gets in the bathroom, she pees in the sink. She either pees in the sink or the shower. Fun fact. Anyway. Jeremy's just, you know. Jeremy's just mad that the media recognizes LGBTQ individuals. What are you gonna do? Also, fuck Jeremy.
If you are, you know, if you're inclined to, then I guess that's on you. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.
God, I hate Jeremy so much.